Hello again. During the professional studies module, we looked at the different kinds of knowledge that teachers hold and acquire as they gain experience and develop their own learning. One of these knowledge bases is the knowledge of context. This is a particularly important form of knowledge that is acquired informally. In other words, we gain this knowledge by experiencing it, by observing it, and by becoming aware of it. There are no books that can provide teachers with a knowledge of their specific contexts. We can only gain this knowledge by being observant, interested, and aware. Context deeply affects the choices that we make when we plan lessons and learning engagement for our learners. When we understand the influence of context, we are able to plan lessons that are truly appropriate for those learners in that school and even in that classroom. Teaching stops being a one-size-fits-all approach and becomes a meaningful engagement for true learning. The context of a school embraces much more than just its geographical position, although this is certainly a part of it. When we try to understand the context of a school, we first look at the physical aspects. Where is the school? What kind of environment is this? What kind of area surrounds the school? Physical aspects would also include the kind of building, the classroom setups, the ablution facilities, and the areas for recreation. The historical context also plays a role in our understanding of our learners, and we should attempt to understand when the school was established and whether the staff and the learners are actively proud of the history of their school. This leads to the political context, the inclusivity of the school to race, religion, culture, and different languages. Also, does the school adhere to the government policy on the language of teaching and learning? And how does this affect the learners? The spiritual context of the school may or may not play an important role in the general context. Consider this aspect and see how it's played out at your school and how it affects the teaching and learning process. Extend this to the economic context. What are the school fees at the school? And what does this tell us about the kinds of learners who attend the school? How do the children get to and from school? At break time, what do the children eat? And where does this food come from? Is there a governing body at the school? And do they fundraise? How does your knowledge and understanding of these factors influence the choices that you make when you plan your lessons? Now, go beyond the physical aspects and look at the academic contexts. Consider the role of the particular principal at your school and the number of staff members. Are there specialist teachers who are paid by the governing body? Are all staff generalists? What is the condition of staff wellness at the school? Then we come a little closer and look at our classrooms. What kinds of rooms are they? Are they the right size for the number of learners they accommodate? What kinds of windows do they have? Is there enough light? Look at the desks, the arrangement of the desks, the space between them. How will these things affect the ways that you plan your lessons? What other aspects are there about the physical school that we should bring to our minds when we plan lessons? Now, explore resources. What resources do the teachers seem to use regularly in those classrooms? What kind of technology is available? How will an understanding of this important contextual aspect affect the choices that you make when you plan your lessons? Then let's look at all that is embraced in the learning context. What is the general attitude from the learners? What behavioral modification techniques are you likely to need? Finally, let's look at the context of the contemporary, because even this affects teaching and learning. This will include current events at the school, like a planned concert or a sports event, and could even extend beyond the school gates into the greater society. Think about the sweeping effects that the COVID-19 pandemic had on our education system. Has something happened at the school that is affecting the learners? For example, the sudden death of a teacher or classmate could have major effects on the learner's ability to concentrate and even on their willingness to become actively involved in a lesson. Even the weather becomes a part of the context of the contemporary. On a day when the temperature soars to 40 degrees, it's impossible to ask learners to concentrate in a crowded classroom. Or you may have planned a lesson to take place in the school playground, and on that day, there's a thunderstorm. You will have to make new choices. How will your particular teacher identity adapt to the context of your school? What choices will you make because of who you are? How will your teacher identity affect the way that you plan a lesson for this particular context with your particular knowledge base, personality, and value systems? Even although they might not realize it, these are the choices that teachers make on a daily basis when they plan their lessons. Being conscious and aware of the complexity of the influence of the context enables us to make wiser and more meaningful choices that will benefit our learners. Those choices will also benefit us, because when we make them, we create lessons that are more meaningful to those particular learners and that are taught by our particular teacher identities. Doctors only have to worry about their patients. Their surgeries remain constant. Operating theatres are strictly governed by sameness. Bankers and businessmen function from offices that they control. COVID-19 created an entire world of online workers whose only context is a computer. But teachers, teachers, we are a special bunch. We have to cope with difference, diversity, death, and destruction on a daily basis and make important choices that make the teaching and learning process worthwhile and meaningful to millions of learners. No wonder they chose us to shape the future.